Welcome to the Got Trauma Podcast with your hosts, Courtney Kay and Monica Newland.
All right. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Got Trauma Podcast. Hello, everybody. How are you doing today?
We're good. We're talking in the future today.
I know. This is kind of cool because as you can see, we have a guest on today. This is Donna. She is, yes, on the other side of the world. So we're in Canada. She is in Australia. So Donna, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well, and thank you so much for the opportunity to join you. I'm very grateful.
Of course. We're super excited today because this is a little bit different of a topic for us. This is something that I am super interested in learning all about from you today. So just a little bit of an introduction. So Donna is a quantum healer and transformational coach. She is on a mission to helping people understand their absolute brilliance and fully embody it to live their brightest life. So you are a quantum healer and transformational coach.
That is correct. Yes, indeed.
This is something that, yeah, like I said, I don't know a whole lot about, but I'm excited to learn about all of the things that it is that you do, how you help people and all that wonderful stuff. So
Wonderful. Thank you. So I suppose the first question people would want to know is, what is quantum? Even though it's become a very popular word, a lot of people still don't fully understand what it is. So would you like me to start by explaining that a little bit about
that? Yes.
You read my mind.
Awesome. So if you Google quantum, it will be defined as the smallest particle. So a subatomic particle, for example. But the whole truth is that we actually live in a quantum world and we are quantum beings, as everything in the entire universe is energy and it's all interconnected. So the way that quantum works is it works with accessing your subconscious mind, as this is where all of the programs and behaviors that we play out in our daily life are running. And we're only consciously aware of about 5%. So a phenomenal 95% of our life actually comes from our subconscious. And that is why quantum work is so powerful, because it's that 95% that's running in the background that we're not even aware of. And that's why it can help us shift and move into a more desired reality.
Wow, that is incredibly interesting. I am learning more about this type of stuff because I have been through my own healing journey, and like this past year, I've had a lot of health issues and trying to get sort of rebalance. And one of the things I have been doing is working with a practitioner to get my like frequencies and things like that balanced. So this is like opening up a whole new world to me, which is, and a lot of it, she talks about like going into the subconscious. And I think about even how like our paths crossed with you, Donna, because we just like, we found each other on the Facebook world. And yes, it seemed like, we were just, we were able to connect that way, which I think is pretty cool. Because I think, Court, like we were really kind of talking a lot about these types of modalities and healing, and we recognize that there are lots of different options out there, like way more than people realize. And you have to sort of find those types of things that are like interesting, that you enjoy, that are aligning with you. So I was so happy when you reached out and we were able to connect and make this happen today, because I think it just like timing wise, it's cool for me to see how, like, I mean, 2 months ago, I didn't know about any of this.
Wow.
And then I did this, like I found this girl, and it was really because I wanted to do red light therapy. And then she ended up having all of these other things. And I was like, wow, okay. And now you've popped into my world, our world, on, with our podcast and all this stuff. So I just find it very, very cool. And I think it's so interesting that type of work. So yeah.
Definitely.
Court, I know you know more than this.
There's such a huge delay on my end. Everybody is like spotty, and I'm only hearing bits and pieces. So if I'm a little bit kind of not, it's only because I'm trying to gather the bits that I'm getting as it's coming in. I don't know why it's so leggy tonight, but it is.
How is it on your end, Donna?
It's fine on my end. It's both of you are completely clear.
Okay.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, not on mine. I don't know why.
So tell us a little bit more about a little bit more about like how all this works, why this is important, like, you know, how you're working with individuals, because you're a healer. You're working with people, and you can do this remotely, or are you doing it both in person and remotely?
I can do it both ways. The thing that I love about this is that I can do it exactly like this. I can do it over Zoom. I can do it face to face. So I can really do it to any English speaking person in the world, which is really exciting because there are so many people out there that do need different forms of healing. And it's just a matter of explaining what we do, because I think there's a big fear factor when people don't understand what things are about, and that's what stops them. And also because a lot of people are used to the traditional healing, like counseling, psychotherapy, psychology, those kinds of things. And when they've had to go and talk about that situation and relive it and re-traumatize themselves. So that's the thing I especially love about this with talk. It's not like talk therapy. You don't have to tell me what has happened to you specifically and how it felt, or actually be in that moment. And most of my clients are super relieved to hear that, because we go about it in a completely different way, because it is using the subconscious. So basically, the main thing that we do is we go and work out exactly like individually tailor to each person exactly what they need. So on my website, I have a few different services available, and I'm currently in the process of adding a heap of other services that I do offer. But really what I do is I'm a channel, and I'm a quantum healer and transformational coach, as you said, and I support people to lift and heal and release dense emotions. So things like fear and anger and resentment, sadness, guilt and shame. And I think every single person on the planet holds on to some of these. And it could have been something that happened when we were 5 years old that's sitting in our subconscious that we don't readily realize that we've been holding on to that for so many years. And the way that I work is I assist with removing the blocks to achieve your goals and helping you deal with challenges. And there's a range of other healings that I can do as well. So, and I'm going to be adding some group sessions in as well, so that people can come and experience what it's like to get a taste of the kind of work that I do, to give them a better understanding of what it's all about. And I've decided very recently that I am going to be tailoring my message to specifically to other starseeds. So starseeds are people who feel different. They've always felt different, like the black sheep in the family, and maybe even like they don't belong on Earth, or that Earth is not their home, and they're already on their spiritual journey. However, I'm doing that because everyone has to have a specific niche that they focus on. So all I would say to people listening is, please don't let this put you off finding out more about how I can help you if what we talk about truly resonates with you today, because it really can help anybody, not just people that are, you know, see themselves on that journey. And the way that I do this work, so the services that I have on there now is I have quantum medbed healing, which is a really unique and beautiful modality. I just fell in love with it when I found out about it. So that's where we access advanced healing technologies, and we actually go in the quantum to visit a Palladian ship, and it's like a beautiful guided meditation. So we go on the journey, and the healing team that I have around me uses color, light, crystals and frequency to heal. And then I also have a complete energy transformation. So when you were talking about before, Monica, that you're seeing a healer and she's helping you with that energy healing. So we start off by balancing your chakras and your meridians, your hydration, your body clock, which is also known as your circadian rhythm, the flow of energy through the left and right hand side of your body. And then we go in to start working on the emotion that you're wanting to release and get to the core of that. So like I said before, it's amazing that you don't have to relive it. So we simply look at how this has impacted your behaviors. So how you know it's a problem for you, where you actually feel it in your body. You know, do you feel it in your head? Does it sit in your tummy? There might be 4 or 5 different places that it sits in. Or, you know, you might be a person, for example, that gets road rage and, you know, you start shaking your fists and, you know, so you identify those different areas where you feel that when you're angry or when you're sad. And then we do the somatic work to really shift and release it. And then we go and we reprogram to replace higher, like lighter emotions, like things like peace and joy and stillness and, you know, feeling in control, confidence, things like that. But we will work through all of that together, and you will have choice on exactly what you want that to look like. And then after that, all of the hard work is over, and we just go on a beautiful journey to expand your awareness and create lasting change so that you can shift into the new version of you with more ease and grace.
Wow.
Love it.
Okay, I feel like you were talking to me, like specifically, because
Awesome.
okay, I'm gonna like rewind a little bit because okay, so you said that there are like star seeds. Is that what you call them?
Yep.
That's correct.
I have never
Yes.
heard that term before.
Really?
But I can definitely identify with that.
Yeah.
Definitely a black sheep. Not in just my own personal experience. I've not been a black sheep in like a negative way per se with family members and people I know, but definitely always different.
Yes.
You know, but I'm pretty good at connecting with people. So I mean, like, I haven't like really thought of myself as a black sheep, but like hearing you sort of describe it and feeling a little bit different and that sort of thing, I definitely relate to that, and always sort of questioning like where it is that I fit sort of into this big, you know, stratosphere that we occupy. Apparently, you know, so definitely I think that there is definitely, I think I should do one of your sessions. How long
Awesome.
does that session take?
So if it's a quantum medbed session, it generally takes around 2 hours. It can take longer. And I'm the kind of healer that if the person has time and they need more time on that session, we just finish it off as long as, you know, they're happy to stay for the extra half an hour or hour. And I don't actually charge any extra for that, because whatever you need in that session, you will receive. And then with the other one that I mentioned, the complete energy transformation, that really depends, because if, for example, somebody chooses sadness, we also have to do anger because they are so closely intertwined. And I don't want to do half of the session now and then do it later. So depending how much density that person has, it can take a long time. But generally speaking, we could get through a session from start to finish 2.5 to 3 hours. But if you did have sadness and anger, it could take up to 4 with regular little breaks as needed.
Right. Wow, I was thinking it would take like weeks. That sounds like, because you uncover so much. Wow,
Yes.
That's incredible. And what is a med bed?
So a med bed is really that. It is an advanced medical bed. Now, unfortunately, at this point in time on Earth, there are not that many around, and it's not really talked about. So it uses color, light, and frequency to heal the body. And there are some, I know there is one in a hospital in Sydney, and there would be other ones around the world, but no one really hears much about them. So it gives us the opportunity to go and access that technology in the quantum, because it can still be accessed. Because what a lot of people may not understand, the reason why we can do that is we have a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual body, and they are all interconnected. So even though you are laying on your bed feeling like you're going on this beautiful meditation, I have people that once the medbed scans, they might see the colors coming through, and they might say, oh, I saw that green light. Or if I say, look, you know, my team is standing on your left-hand side, they may be able to feel somebody standing there. And then, you know, as different parts of their body are being worked on, people say to me, oh, I can actually feel that. And it's not exactly the same as somebody touching you per se, but they can feel that energy being worked on, and then they're quite amazed.
That is incredible. It makes a lot of sense to me. In like because yes, so like like understanding that everything is energy, everything, has this like vibration, and that you're able to tap into that, and you're able to use your own like frequencies to, heal and move through things. Like it's all, like I said, it's all very new to me. But it makes so much sense. Like, I don't
Yes.
think anybody can argue with the fact that, that like there's so much logic and science behind that. I just think it's cool that you've been able to tap into this, because you said that you're also a channeler.
Yes.
Is that what you call it? So what is that?
So really, we are all channels. So, when you are about to go out and you're in a rush and you think, oh, I really should grab my jacket, it might be cold. Like that little thought pops into your head and you don't listen to it and you go out and you're like, I knew I should have grabbed that jacket, I'm freezing. That is your channel. That is, you getting that information. But because we are quite often so in our heads, we actually just say, oh no, I don't need that, and off we go. So we all channel information every day. So it's using the energy from our top chakra in our head, our crown chakra, and connecting out to all of the other energies in the universe is really what it's about. And we've always been doing it our whole entire life. It's just that when we do spiritual work, like whether it be meditation, breath work, yoga, all of those kinds of qigong, all of those different kinds of modalities, and obviously doing quantum work, then we can really open up that channel so it becomes more precise and flows easier for us.
I see.
It's something that we kind of got away from because we kind of lost that, if you will, magic, almost the ability to tap into these things because we're created that way. But people have different thoughts and theories on things, and a lot of people find this particular stuff hokey, whereas it makes full sense to me. Every last bit of it. That's a lot of the reason why I went and got did my Reiki attunements, was because awesome. I'm like, this is a beautiful way to heal. And it blows my mind how if I'm like in a state of heightened anxiety, that I can just pull myself back into my body, by saying a small prayer and just centering myself and working on the chakras that are all out of whack.
Definitely.
Because you can feel it. It's tangible, right?
Yes. And Reiki is really amazing.
Definitely.
Yes, I love it. I love it very much.
Yeah, the chakras. Well, Courtney, that's what's in your back and behind you, I think, right? It's I've learned about chakras and healing and moving through things like through yoga practices that I've done. So, and then also like learning to sort of tune back in with that, that channeling, that intuition that you feel. And because I've been more conscious of that lately, really, just trying to embrace that and picking up on things. And I've been noticing patterns of things that, like more like numbers and things like that. I really like numerology. So I've kind of gone in that direction a little bit, just being open to that. And I think when you start to like open up yourself to those types of things, like it's not only is it like, just based on everything that you're saying here, it sounds like it's so incredibly healing. Like there's so many layers to this. But it's very interesting and fun along the way, right? Like it's to learn about, what all of these pieces are and how we're made up. And I think, Courtney, to your point, it's very much how we used to be a lot more. And we've blocked a lot of this stuff out. Like just our way of life is so much different than it was 100 years ago.
Right? Nobody stops to listen to their intuition. It's just go.
And I think a big thing that has really impacted that, and this may help people understand, if we look at ancient cultures, they were always very connected to the earth. They didn't have, Wi-Fi and things like that to interrupt, because even though we can't see that, that is actually interrupting the energy within our body. And we don't go out and stand on the grass. And we have synthetic floors. We have synthetic soles on our feet, and we are not grounded. So we used to, like, if you think about when we were kids, we used to run around on the ground barefoot, and you are automatically grounded. The moment that your foot touches the grass, thousands of electrons go up and in all around the body. And that's the most amazing thing, and one of the most healing things that we can do. And it gives us that connection and that surety that you were talking about.
Yep. Absolutely, it does.
100%. I totally agree with that. I mean, in Canada, we don't, have the ability to wear no shoes, year round. Although I am trying to find a way to not have the winters anymore. But I which hence why I lived in Australia at one point. But like, I totally agree. Like through this, like sort of, health, things that I have gone through in the last year, learning a lot about frequencies, learning about grounding. I went away on a yoga retreat. It was very much about like, there's, grounding foods that you can eat. Yeah. Not wearing shoes. So like me and my family were very big advocates on, if the weather is nice, like you don't wear shoes. Like we try to, make sure our kids are outside without shoes, like, because we don't have that connection. And I can't imagine living in like New York City or something like that, where it's just like literal concrete jungle. Like there's no trees anywhere. It's like fake astroturf. Like we live in the country where we are. And I mean, Courtney, same with you, right? Like we have this beautiful connection to the outdoors still. But I mean, that's, we're lucky that we have that, but it is so important, and we've gotten so far away from that. Like
we still take it for granted though, but not in the right way. We take it for granted that it's always there, as opposed to being out and actually doing the things that we should be doing in and with it.
Totally.
Yeah.
And
like hug a tree, right? Like that's, I've heard that so many times. It's like, there's actually a lot of healing powers to that. Like,
there is an amazing amount of healing to hug a tree. And I know people think that it's very out there and it sounds very silly, but if we are feeling really upset, and even if we go and sit by a tree, it will help co-regulate us. It really does, because it has that beautiful, amazing energy, and trees are just gorgeous. And I'm not sure if anyone is aware of this either, but if you have a group of trees, they are all interconnected and they all communicate with each other through their root systems as well. So there's something.
No, that is cool.
Yep. We have 3 trees in our yard. There is a maple tree, an apple tree, and I believe it's a type of ash tree. And they all grew together, and they're like adopted siblings. That's kind of like how I look at them. And I have like my hammock between the maple tree and the ash tree, and just laying there underneath like the canopy is so beautiful. And these 3 trees connected to each other, it's a really magical space.
It sounds very magical.
It is.
Yeah,
it is. I feel it when I'm in there. It's very, very, very grounding to be in that space.
Yeah.
I need to do it more.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm all like, I think these are things that people can do easily at any point in time, right? Like to just better improve their situation if you're feeling overwhelmed. It's just so funny because I heard it always growing up, like, go for a walk, get out in nature, get some fresh air. And it's like, it just seems like as I get older, all of these things, I'm like, oh, like now I actually get it. I like realize what they actually meant. Like maybe it was just a funny thing to say, but like there's so much truth to these things. So a little bit, I mean, obviously you're on the Got Trauma podcast. So when you speak about healing and so just tell us a little bit about like why that's so important to like heal trauma, and why this is, I mean, you've already told us, a really good overview of the type of work, but tell us a little bit more about why this is so important.
Sure. So most of the beliefs that we formulate about ourselves, we actually do so from 0 to 7. So if we're in a situation, even if we have wonderful parents, if we don't feel seen or we don't feel heard, and our parents don't get it right at least 30% of the time, or if there are traumatic events like, we have a car accident or something, terrible happens when we are young, we find ways around that. We learn behaviors to help us get our needs met if they're not being met by our primary caregivers. And we actually believe a lot of things about ourselves that are untrue. So it could be simple as being, teased at school, and told you fat or something like that. And we carry these traumas with us. And if we don't heal them, we're the ones who actually suffer. So it's really, really important that, we can do the healing, because it results in behaviors that we carry on and repeating patterns. And some of us carry those on our whole entire life until they're healed. And some of us don't even ever heal them, which I think is really sad, because most of us don't actually know how to do this. And this is where this line of work that I do comes in, because if we don't release the trauma and resentment or other dense emotions, and we just continue to push it down, bury it, then the associated dis-ease that comes with those emotions can literally, over a period of time, turn into disease in your body. And once you heal these parts of yourself, then you can live the brightest life. There's nothing to hold you back from achieving and living your dreams. And that, to me, is why it's so important for everybody to heal those traumas.
Yep. I agree. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's so beautifully said. And, just like I said with my autoimmune, that was 100% a result of me suppressing trauma. I definitely know that. And that's been a hard lesson to learn. And one of the reasons why, I have made healing, like mentally, like, full mind, body, soul, such a priority, because the alternative is terrible. Like, to put it lightly, like luckily I'm in a position where I still have the opportunity to, correct some of the things, which is, and totally open to all of these beautiful modalities, because I think it is, and you mentioned this sort of at the beginning, like there's a lot of these traditional methods of healing and there's absolutely a time and a place for more traditional methods like counseling and therapy. I mean, definitely been down that road. And I think that there's definitely a time and a place for that, but you kind of get to a point where you don't want to just always, like you said, talk about it, or you feel like you've plateaued, or you kind of don't know how to get into that next phase, that next step. You're like, I've done the work, you've done that inner child work, you've done, whatever you need to do, but you're still kind of stuck. And that's how I have felt. I'm kind of still a little bit in that, I feel too. And because this has been like quite a realization for me over the last year, and not prioritizing, and also, making sure I'm providing myself the space to be able to do this, because it's messy and it's, it's confusing, and trying, we talk a lot about these types of things on the podcast, but until you're sort of in it, it's hard to really get it. So being able to align with something that, and try something that's a little bit different, and based on what you're saying, like, it's just like all that science is like, I'm such a believer in this. Like I said, it's only been a couple months for me since I've really opened up this whole, to this whole world. I knew what Courtney was doing with the Reiki healing, but I had never even tried it. I still need to get a Reiki session in person. But I love that. You're really pinpointing the, using this type of healing, and why this is so important for that, people who've experienced trauma, because it is so varied, right? Like we've all experienced something, in our lives that was negative, right? And so I think this is a beautiful way to be able to sort of step into that next phase, that next space, and then, like you said, become like the brighter version of yourself. I just love that. Speaking my language.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
absolutely.
The other thing I love about it is you're providing such a safe, supportive, loving environment, in which a person can heal. And my clients are actually doing the healing because they're allowing it to lift. So the more open that you are to it and you set your intention, and obviously I set that all up energetically with you as we start, but I'm just the facilitator. You're the one who's actually doing the work.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. It's the same with Reiki too, right? You're just the vessel. You just allow, you're the conduit that the energy comes through. Everybody, and it's up to the individuals to do the work. Because I think that that's a bit of a misconception too when people go into these different types of healings, is they kind of take on that, oh, it's like this magical thing that's just, you know, I'm going to go in, I'm going to get this treatment, and I'm going to walk out and everything's going to be better. And no, because if you're not accountable and ready for the changes, then it's sort of a waste of time, right? Like, you have to be open. You can't just look at it like, oh, you're going to fix me. Perfect. Yay. Because I've seen, you know, sort of that mentality.
It's what you reminded me of then is when a person goes to one of those shows with a hypnotist out the front on the stage and they get called up to be hypnotized and they're saying, no, you're not going to hypnotize me. You're not going to hypnotize me. Well, obviously they're not going to get hypnotized.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly. Right. It's power. Yeah.
In saying that, one thing that I've noticed with the quantum work, as long as the person is open to it, whether they actually believe in it or not, it can still do, the healing still occurs.
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely, like, the openness definitely has to be there for sure.
Yes.
It's so important.
And so when you say like taking accountability and that sort of thing, or like what can somebody do who's like just learning about these things? What can they do to
skeptical?
sort of, like if they're looking at doing this type of healing, is that what you would call it? Like this type of healing? Like how would they best prepare for something like this?
Well, really, the person doesn't need to do any preparation, but if somebody had some interest, but they were feeling skeptical, what I would recommend is for them to have a chat with, you know, the healer. So say, for example, if someone resonated with this and they wanted to jump on my website or, you know, send me a PM and say, hey, Donna, I've just listened to this. I'm interested to know more, but I don't believe if it can work for me, then we can have a chat. You know, I think often once a person has a talk, because most of that is coming from fear-based, from your mind. And our mind is logically trying to explain something that the human mind can't understand. Like if you look at quantum physicists are only just now starting to understand and be able to explain some things that the ancient cultures knew thousands of years ago. They intuitively understood this. So, you know, and then once you can fully explain it and remove that fear, and a prime example is I did a healing on one of my good friend's daughters, and she had amazing results. She said it changed her entire life. We did 2 healings. And my friend is still saying, oh, yeah, I believe that this stuff can work, but I don't know if I want to book with you. You need to do something to show me that it works. And I said, okay. So on the Sunday, we booked an hour and I went through and I just did some of the somatic work with her. So I did some of the inner child work with like talking to her body, and she's just gone, oh, wow, I was not expecting that. And she, you know, was able to reconnect with parts of her that were in trauma from when she was 8, 11, 12. And she just said, I need some more of this. So sometimes people just need to understand that it is a safe environment, that they will be looked after. And once they do that, they think, oh, wow, I didn't realize that this was possible. And they completely change their mind. It's like anything. It's fear of the unknown.
Exactly. 100%. Absolutely.
Yeah, because there's definitely parts of my life that I have completely blocked out. And I know that those areas of my life that I probably, it's not that I want to revisit, like, again, there's a difference, but I definitely know that those areas are very unknown sort of to me. And I'm sure that there's a good reason that my body's protected me from that. But it is, I believe, necessary for me to really finally let go of some things And so this sounds like it would be a way to do that, because I am scared to go back to that, because it's been like, when you're healing, like you've done a lot of hard things already, and it's like, oh, another hard thing I got to do. But it's necessary, it seems.
So just a question, Monica, kind of made me think of this. So Donna, would you say that it's more so not letting go of the memory necessarily, but the emotion that's attached to it that's creating sort of that connection to, so like when people think about having, when they go through these healings and they're concerned that they're going to have flashbacks or, relive certain incidents, it's more or less you're releasing the emotion to the memory, not necessarily because that's really the worst part of it, right? Is that feeling in your stomach that's just gut wrenching, tearing you apart. But that's what you want to let go of more than anything.
100%. And I think people think that they are going to have to be back there in that situation, but that's the great thing about subconscious work. It's not like that. We're just taking you to your timeline and you're seeing a little notch, and then you're finding, is this the very first time I experienced this emotion? Was it even in this lifetime? Was it in a past lifetime, for example? Because we carry generational trauma as well. We can carry it through our blood lineage for a period of time, and you just trust that your subconscious knows. It knows exactly where you need to be to heal this now, and then we just do the rest of the journey. So you're not even thinking of that specific scenario or that specific day, because what happens is when we physically go through that trauma, it's a trauma response. Like two people can go through exactly the same thing, and one person can have a really bad trauma response and the other person may not. It's how we react to that situation that actually creates the trauma, if that makes sense in the first place.
Absolutely. Yep. 100%.
And then that's the thing I love about this, is that you don't have to do any of that. But when we go through that trauma response, because our body is always trying to keep us safe, but what actually happens is memory travels on our hormones. And so when we have a fight, flight, or freeze, it's because memory is stored in the body, right? And then something reminds us of that situation, whatever it may be, and then we go straight into that, it goes up and tries to warn us that we're in danger, and then we have that situation. So during these healings, I have never had a person that has had to relive that event or that has felt scared during the healing. I think in the prelude, they might feel like, oh, really edgy, but once they get there and the space is all set up, like obviously I've set everything up and it's really beautiful and loving, and then I take them through where they, get into their heart space, and we connect up to the universe and we connect back down to earth, and we've got that beautiful breathing and the person is fully grounded, and then we start from there. So by the time we've even started any work, that person is feeling 100% safe.
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
I love that.
That is so cool. That is incredible.
I definitely want to do some of that now.
Yeah.
I'm very, very intrigued.
Do you do this outside or do you do this inside?
I do it
because you're saying
inside.
They're grounded.
Yeah. Sometimes when I'm doing a quantum medbed healing, and because I live on 5 acres, I need the trees and the stars and the moon. I could not live in a city. If it's nice weather, because obviously it's our winter here now, so even though I live in a very warm climate, it's a bit cool today. But sometimes when the weather's beautiful, I will actually sit out the back with a couple of crystals around me in the grass and do the quantum medbed healing. But generally speaking, I do it inside.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
That's my next step, is getting my studio set up for Reiki.
Awesome.
I just have to get rid of an older kid first. So.
Yeah, but it is. Yeah, I definitely having that, like a really, an environment that's really conducive to being like feeling relaxed and all of the energies. Of course, that makes such a difference.
Safe.
So yeah, I could definitely see that and agree that it's beautiful for sure. That would be beautiful. Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah.
And one other thing that I've just thought that is probably really important for people to understand, I think there's maybe a big misunderstanding or a big misconception between spirituality and religion. And a lot of people that are religious feel that healers or spiritual people are not connected with God, which could not be
Yep.
further from the truth. So whether you see
Yep.
that as a religious God, whether you see it as the energy that, you know, the intelligence that started in the universe, which keeps
Yep.
ever expanding. So I just like to put that out there, because if people are listening and they are religious and they feel that, you know, all of these things go against what they believe in, I can definitely reassure them that that is not the case, and that we come from the same loving place, and, you know, call in
Yep.
beautiful beings to assist with the healing, and you are connected to all of that you believe in.
Yep.
yeah,
I do
that's
notice
a really
that
good
too.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good point,
It
because
is.
there is definitely, I'm sure, like feeling a little bit of confliction with that is definitely possible, right? So I think you're right. I think there's it is very much connected and separate, but like very much like there's not really like you're not competing against anything else. This is on like a different level,
Comes from a place of
really.
love. It's all love.
Yeah.
That's what we all are, right? At the end of the day.
Yeah, love, light, and
Yeah.
abundance.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Love, light, and abundance. That's nice. Yeah. And so when you are working with a group, because you said that you're just going to be starting to do group sessions,
Yes,
is that online too, or is that in person?
that will be online. So I'm
Okay.
going to start advertising that very soon, and probably get 5 people, and we're just going to choose whatever it may be for the day. So I might say, okay, this one's on guilt, or this one's on shame, and we'll have 5 people. And the great thing is, you're not sharing any personal information. You're just basically finding where that sits in your body, and we're going through a conversation with your body and giving it what it needs. So it's inner child work, really, in a sense, and lifting that energy that's been stuck in that part of your body for goodness knows how many years. We're actually lifting and releasing that. And most people find that really beautiful, and they can feel a distinct change. So that's the reason why I've chosen that for the group sessions, because you don't have to go into anything personal, but everyone gets to experience what it's like and actually see what part of my work is about, and connect with me in that way. So it helps them make a more informed decision. If they are sitting on the fence or a bit skeptical or think this sounds a bit weird, then they think, oh yeah, wow, now I get it, and now I feel more comfortable about the whole scenario.
Yep. I can see that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's a really good approach.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
and so how did you like know that you were able to do this? Like how did you tap into all of this?
Sure. So I've always been very spiritual and very connected ever since a young child. I've always been very empathic. I used to look at children that got teased and bullied and things like that, and just wonder why people in the world were so nasty. So I was the child at school that would help the other children tie their shoelaces that couldn't tie them, or if they were getting teased, stick up for the underdog. That's always been me. And I just always felt very connected, and I started writing lots of poetry when I was very young, to deal with my emotions I did that from about 11 to 19 very consistently, because, you know, those years can be very difficult because you're dealing with so many emotions. You're becoming an adult, you're finding your own identity, and there's so much that we go through. And then I really got into crystals and did a lot of work with them. And then I got my Reiki masters, probably in my late 20s. And then I went and taught myself a bit about essential oils and did massage for friends and family. But quite often during those years, I had a lot of leadership roles where I was responsible for managing about 15 people and very long work hours. So I kind of put the spirituality to the side. And then a few years later, I started getting really depressed. And then I realized that was why, is because I hadn't been looking after that spiritual side. And then, I worked back into what I'm doing now. But what really, really prompted me to do exactly what I'm doing now, unfortunately, it took a really big scenario where my dad was suddenly really sick, and he was diagnosed with a really rare terminal blood cancer, and it was stage 4 before they already found it. So he was on death's door, and he had operations and he had all these other things that went wrong, and he had treatment for 8 months. And I saw this advertisement saying medbed, and I knew I had some strong memories of some of my past lives, and I knew that I had worked with med beds and crystal beds and things like that in Atlantis. And the moment I saw the word medbed, I just thought, I just have to do this because I have to help. I have to be able to help. And the most amazing thing is the doctors told him that he could never go into remission. And he's just gone into remission about in the last 2 weeks, which is just so amazing.
Goosebumps.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that is incredible. I'm so sorry that, you and your family have been through that. That's incredibly difficult. But wow, he now he's in remission. That's
yes.
It's amazing.
Phenomenal. Yeah. And it took
so
something. Sorry. It took something.
I was just gonna say exactly what you're gonna say.
Yes. So many of us are scared to step out. I think many of us feel that we are very spiritual and that we are healers, but we're scared to step out into that. And sometimes it takes something really big to think, look, get over your fear and just do it, because you need, this is what you're here for, is to help people.
Yep. I have imposter syndrome.
Yeah. I think we all do to some degree. Don't worry. I have some of it too.
Yeah, it's real.
It is. It's a pain in the ass, though.
It is such a pain in the ass. Yeah. But you're right. That's that everything transpired in a way that sort of pushed you in this direction. So I can absolutely understand why you're like, this needs focus. This needs my time, and this is important. So I'm so glad to hear that your father's
that's amazing.
Better. And and I guess it's just a testament to just keep doing what you're doing, right?
Yes.
If any there was a testament to keep doing what you're doing.
Definitely. Absolutely. I agree.
That's amazing. I love it. I have so many things swirling in my head right now. So many thoughts. It's just so neat. I'm very in my wheelhouse, so I like it. I like it a lot.
So is the because the Reiki, you don't actually touch anybody, and with what you're doing, Donna, you don't actually touch anybody either, right? Because obviously you're able to do it at a distance too, right? So
yeah, I don't. You don't have to touch anybody. And what a lot of people don't understand, I have so many people, especially like local people or people that just live a few hours away, saying, I have to come to your house for this healing, and they don't feel comfortable. They think that the healing's not going to be the same, or that they're not safe if you're doing it remotely. But because everything is energy, there is no limitation there. The only limitation is in our mind and our own fear and what we put in place to block it. Me doing, like, I could, be working with somebody in Switzerland, and it is no different to them being right here next to me. And it actually, most of the people comment that it actually felt like we were in the same room, because technically we are.
Yep.
Interesting. Yeah, because that, like, my logical brain is trying to work these things out too, and and thinking about, like, I have not experienced any of these things, like I said, right? So I'm so curious, and definitely going to look at these. I feel like it's and like I said at the beginning, how our paths have crossed and how all these things are coming together. It seems like it's sort of like naturally I'm being drawn to this sort of side
serendipitous.
Yeah. Very cool. So Donna, how do people find you? You mentioned your website. You have a website. How do people find you? How do they work with you? You've talked about some of your packages and things like that. But...
Certainly. So basically, yes, I do have a website, and it's as simple as donnamulvany.com. And I'm sure that you'll probably, put that in the link with the podcast anyway.
Yeah.
I also have LinkedIn and Facebook. I do have an Instagram account, but I don't really use it, so I won't provide that to you. I'm revamping. I've deleted my old one, and I'll create a new one, so we'll just do the other three. But people can put a message on my contact page with any questions, or private message me in Facebook, and I can answer those. And if they would like to, we could set up a consultation to determine what best suits their situation, as my work is really fully tailored to your individual needs. We'll look at your circumstances, exactly what you need. And the amazing thing about channeling is that quite often I'm able to put into words what they need, because it comes through my channel, and they're like, yeah, that's what I was trying to say. I just didn't know how to say it.
Yeah. I
Awesome.
love that. We will definitely post all that information in the show notes, so that any of our followers and listeners are able to reach you and learn more about what it is that you're doing, and stay up to date as you are adding and what sort of things you have going on. So this was so good. Courtney, do you have any questions or anything else you want to share?
I've just enjoyed this whole listening and absorbing. This is really cool. Aside from the glitchiness, because that's kind of stressed me out the entire time. If you're wondering why I'm like, it's because it's just glitch. So
the internet's not cooperating on your end.
Oh, I don't know why. But yeah, no, that was amazing. Thank you so much, Donna. I look forward to booking a session at some point.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored and pleased to be here, and it's really great connecting with you both and all of your audience. I'm very, very grateful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. This has been such a lovely conversation, and definitely it feels so aligned and just lovely to be able to talk about something that like I said, I'm learning so much about, but I feel like is such a beautiful, wonderful way. And I think anybody who is curious should definitely check out what both Donna and Courtney are up to in this field of healing, because I think it's really important, and it's such a pleasant, would be such a pleasant experience, and I'm looking forward to doing that.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to doing it for sure, for sure.
Yay.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And we look forward to following more of your journey as you are progressing through this. So thank you so much for sharing all your knowledge and your insight and telling us all about this wonderful healing modality. It's really, really wonderful. So let's wrap it up there. We will put all the information in the show notes. And so please, to any of our listeners, please reach out, ask any questions. And thank you so much, ladies, for this conversation today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your days.
Yes.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit those subscribe and share buttons. We'll see you at the next one.